Well, hey, folks, it's your old pal, King Waspinator. Welcome back to Total Party Skills. Now, as you know, Krampus season is upon us. You only have a little over a month and a half to get yourself ready to punish your innocent children for all the ways they have violated your trust over the last year. And I think I've found the perfect instrument for their torment that you can get for them this Krampusnacht on December 5th. And that is the 5th edition of Vampire the Masquerade. Right off the bat, this terrible puke-colored cover should really just kind of throw their mood off. Just like, what's up with this jewelry? That's a huge earring. No wonder she looks all pained. I kind of feel that I don't know. Is it just me, or does that kind of look like Tia Carrere's character from Cull the Conqueror? She's in like some sort of mystic trance or something while she's working some evil magic on Kevin Sorbo. I just got it this afternoon, so I've not had a chance to really read it entirely in depth. I've largely just been kind of thumbing through it and trying to figure out what the differences and similarities are from what the old Vampire was back in the day. For the most part, in terms of the dice mechanics of the rules themselves, don't seem to be that different. I noticed a slight change in how they run the difficulty success kind of stuff. Instead of, you set the difficulty number and all the dice that roll over that number count as success. Instead, it's everything that rolls over 6 is a success, and the difficulty is the amount of successes you have to accumulate, which is kind of reminiscent of kind of how Modiphius does their rules. And I dropped out of gaming for a while right around the time White Wolf imploded there at the end, so I'm not entirely sure of the lineage of Modiphius and Onyx and whoever the hell Renegade Games is, how exactly they relate to the original White Wolf crew, but I know in the past there's been some stink over the disclaimer at the front. That kind of shit's stupid. In the 90s and late 80s, post-Satanic Panic, a lot of role-playing games put disclaimers in the front of their books about the supernatural and not getting into Satanism and all that kind of stuff. And all I'll say is that the majority of people who I've known in my life who have claimed to believe in the supernatural and or call themselves Satanists have been people who are into role-playing games. So I'm not really sure if the don't abuse your players disclaimer is actually going to pan out the way you'd like it to. I guess in the end, I don't really feel like role-playing games should be having to give parental advice to kids on how to behave. But hey, that's just me. In terms of a vampire game, much in the same reason why Vampire the Requiem was probably the only really decent game out of that second edition revamp of the World of Darkness they did in the 2000s. You got a small amount of vampire clans politicking against each other in an urban environment, so on that front, it's a vampire game. In terms of woke stuff, that doesn't actually seem that bad on the surface. They didn't do anything like that Kindred, the Embrace show in the 90s did. They didn't erase the Malkavians and the Tremere for politically squeamish reasons. I might have missed it so far, but I'm there's no mention of the Sabbat in this at all. So, does that mean there's no La Sombra or Tzimisce or followers of Set and Asim? Where are the rest of the clans? It's only just the 7 Camarilla clans, and trying to make the Anarchs out to be something bigger. The important thing is that Toreador are still terribly lame, and anyone who likes to play Toreador is a terrible person. That's the important thing. What bothers me is just the little tweaks to the character design. I'm not surprised that they got rid of the appearance attribute. It's lame that they did, and I especially feel that it kind of has a subtle but profound effect on what playing a Nosferatu in particular is like. What I find confusing is, why was Perception replaced too? What was wrong with Perception? If there was any one attribute out of the original 9 attributes of the old White Wolf rules that I thought would have been probably, actually, honestly problematic to some people, and then maybe would like to have been removed, but wasn't removed, and that is the manipulation attribute. But let's turn Perception into Resolve and Appearance into Composure. The thing, what I mean is because of the old White Wolf rules, Nosferatu would just have a 0 for their appearance attribute. And, you know, they have a thing in here where they have a flaw that makes them ugly. But that's not really quite the same thing. In the original White Wolf, what you're doing when you're playing a Nosferatu is you're role-playing a disabled person. They have one entire of their basic attributes is entirely punched out and zeroed out. They are disabled in that faction. In this version of Vampire, they have a flaw of being ugly, but that's not really quite, really, like, I don't know, philosophically, I just don't feel it's really doing quite the same thing psychologically to the people who are playing a Nosferatu character. The Ventrue are still cool, Gangrel are still Gangrel. I've never personally, like, I would never play a Brujah, but I like the Brujah in their setting. They're still themselves. I notice they kind of dance a little bit around just outright calling the Malkavians crazy, but, you know, they're still loaded up with all sorts of, you know, mental disorders and all that kind of stuff. So, like, functionally, all the clans basically seem to still be what they were. I don't know why they had to remove the term thaumaturgy and replace that with blood magic. For one thing, like, when you're looking at the names of all the various vampire disciplines, blood magic really doesn't fit the naming scheme of the rest of the power sets, whereas thaumaturgy did. I guess it might be interesting that they have, like, these 14th generation thin blood vampires available as players, characters. There's, you know, until I guess I'm gonna have to, like, play around with making a character just to get the feel for it, but it feels like the character creation in this is also a little bit clunkier than what it used to be. I guess it's a good thing that, you know, there's the 20th anniversary versions of all these games, because it was functional as is, and this also still has kind of the problem that the 20th anniversary games do, in that if you're someone who played, you know, these games back when they first came out and are aware of the fact that there's a big, you know, world-ending events canceled all the various game lines, why the fuck are they back? What happened? What, you know, like, how come only half of them are still around? You know, like, what about the Eastern Kindred from East Asia? What about the African vampires? I mean, I've only seen, like, source books advertised for the Anarchs and the Camarilla, and I think they got, like, a Chicago by Night book. I'm very, like, thrown off. The Sabbat had the best clans. I mean, screw all these fucking pussy-ass Camarilla Louis from Vampire Lestat wannabe humanity junkies. The Smisi, that was the fucking bomb right there. Anyway, I already know, like, half of y'all who watch my channel hate White Wolf, and those of you who do like White Wolf are probably all like, oh my god, I can't believe he just defamed this horrible, horrible cover. I can see why some people are willing to shell out that $110 to get the marble colored one, because, good god. You know, the interior artwork kind of, you know, at first I thought it was a little, you know, kind of throw you off a little bit because it's pictures. I mean, so much was actually based on your actual real photography. But, you know, like, the more I look at it, the more it doesn't bother me and kind of growing on me. But, geez, that cover. And it's all just because, like, what is up with this necklace? Like, I don't get it. That's not what Vampire is about. Hit like and subscribe. Tell me in the comments something about yourself. I don't know. And have a good one.